Hi everyone! In this video, we will graph a linear equation in standard form by plotting points. Graph the line by plotting points. 2x plus y equals 8. Standard form means that it's not solved for y, so it's a little more work to find our points because we're going to have to solve the equation and isolate one of the variables. But because it's not solved for y, we can pick either x or y and make our chart here to find some coordinates. And because 0 is always my favorite, I'm going to start with 0 for x, and because I can choose points for y as well, I'm going to go ahead and choose 0 for y. It's good to choose a third point, and we'll do that in just a minute. So let's go ahead and substitute 0 in for x. So we get 2 times 0 plus y equals 8. 2 times 0 is 0, so we get y equals 8, and that's why 0 is my favorite. So we fill in our chart with 8. And we can write the ordered pair 0, 8 if we'd like to, and move to the next point of 0, substituting in for y. So we get 2x plus 0 equals 8. 2x plus 0 is just 2x. So we have 2x equals 8. Divide both sides by 2, and we're left with x equals 4. So we fill in our chart with 4, and we can write the ordered pair 4, 0. Now for the last part, which is to find a third coordinate. Sometimes picking points can come up with crazy fractions, and those are really difficult to make accurate on a graph. So it's easier to have a whole number. To do that, we take one of our points that we found already give us a whole number, and we find another one by using the coefficients in front of the x and the y. Here we have a 2 and a 1. If we want to find a good point to substitute in for x, we can take either one of the points that we've already done, 0 or 4, and add the coefficient in front of the y to that number to find a third point. So it's a 1, so we can take the 0, we can add or subtract 1, which gives us a positive 1 or a negative 1. We can also take the 4 and add 1, to get 5, or we can take the 4 and subtract 1 to get 3. Those give us 4 other points that will give us a whole number to graph. We could also use the y values as well, 8 or 0, and in this case we will take the coefficient in front of the x to add or subtract the y value to give us another point for y to substitute and find a whole number for x. So we can take 8 or 0 and add or subtract 2. 8 plus 2 is 10, 8 minus 2 is 6. We could also do 0 plus or minus 2, which gives us 0 plus 2 is 2, and 0 minus 2 is negative 2. All 8 of these are great options to pick to find a third point to graph. We don't have to do all of them, but these are a great start to avoid fractions. And I'm going to go ahead and pick 1. It seems the easiest. So I'll do 1. 2 times 1, substituting it in for x, plus y equals 8. 2 times 1 is 2, plus y equals 8. Subtract 2 from both sides, so y equals 6. So our next point, or our third point that we can graph, is the ordered pair 1, 6. Now we can go ahead to our rectangular system and graph our first point, 0, 8, starting at the origin. The 0 says we move neither left or right in the x direction, so we'll stay on the y-axis, and we'll move up 8 units in the y direction, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's our first point. Our second point is 4, 0, so we start at the origin again, and we move in the x direction positive 4 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 0 says that we don't move up or down in the y direction, so it'll be on the x-axis. And for our final point, 1, 6, again we start at the origin, we move positive 1 in the x direction, and then up positive 6 in the y direction, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's our third point. Now to make our graph, we will connect all of these points, and I'm going to use a straight edge to make sure that my graph is as accurate as possible and connect all of those points. And there's our graph. We have now successfully graphed a linear equation in our rectangular coordinate system, and now we're all done.